We're in a new legislative session. What are some of the hot topics of the 2015 session, and what are some of your priorities?
Well, one of the hottest topics is obviously the McCleary decision, where the Washington State Supreme Court has held the legislature kind of in contempt, or the whole state. We're not quite sure exactly which one, but the bottom line is the legislature has the power of the purse. We want to fund education in a fiscally responsible manner, but in an effective manner as well. Not just throw more money at education, but do it in a way where our students can have a first-class education and can actually learn and show results. We also want to foster, I think, as Republicans, education choice, which means we have to take into account private schools and also homeschooling. A couple of the other hot topics this session, one of them is going to be industrial hemp. Huge new market that can open up in Washington State. According to the pulp and paper manufacturers in Southwest Washington, they've been devastated with massive job losses because of some of the environmental policies that have been implemented in our forests. Could actually be completely revitalized, and they say it would mean an economic impact of over $150 million. That is literally thousands of jobs, and not just incidental jobs and direct jobs, but we're talking all the tertiary jobs, secondary jobs that would go along with that. So that's one of the biggest things we're going to do. Washington State used to be one of the largest exporters of hemp in the entire country, if not in the entire world. So it grows here very well. 3 to 4 crop rotations a year when there's water. 2 to 3 when there's not. It conditions the soil. It's good for the environment. It can be used for so many different things other than just making paper. It can also be used for actually making hempcrete, making houses with it, which has a higher insulation value and actually in some cases is even stronger than concrete. It has the ability to be used in agriculture with hemp seed feeding animals. And lastly, obviously, with rope and textiles. So just a wonderful product, and it's about time we legalize hemp in Washington, and it will help get Washington working again.
You're the new ranking member of the House Environment Committee. The governor's climate change legislation will be considered by that committee. Do you have concerns about the governor's proposal, and how will you handle it in the committee?
Well, one of the interesting things about the whole climate change debate is really, I believe, a lack of peer-reviewed science. We've been asking that virtually on every issue, whether we're talking toxics or we're talking environmental policies. We have to insist upon policies being made on peer-reviewed science, number one. Number two, we have to look at the cost and impact of jobs of those policies and see whether the cost and impact on jobs is outweighed or maybe not outweighed by the actual impact on the environment. And one of the, I think, interesting things that came up in an article out of Oregon is that there really aren't a lot of policies that have a dramatic impact on the environment. We have one of the cleanest, greenest states already, and so there's kind of a law of diminishing returns here we have to be aware of as we address environmental policy in that committee. And I look forward to doing that and working with the chairman to make sure that that actually does happen.
Let's talk a moment about the Freedom Agenda. I understand you're claiming an early victory on a couple of issues, the drone bill and the cancellation of the State of the Judiciary speech.
Well, I'll take the drone bill first. One of the biggest bipartisan bills of the last session. We got it all the way to the governor's desk and he vetoed it. But when the veto message came back to the House, the Speaker, in a very rare parliamentary procedural move, held the message at the rostrum. It's like getting a letter but not opening it. And what that does is it makes the clock stop in time right there, because you only have a certain period of time to actually override a governor's veto. So actually the clock has stopped right now, allowing us to gather enough votes, we believe, that we have a potential to override the governor's veto, or at least come up and address some of the governor's concerns and make sure we get that drone bill through. So I think it's a huge victory for the Freedom Agenda, and the Speaker actually pointed his gavel at myself and Representative Taylor and acknowledged us on the floor before he banged the gavel and held it at the rostrum. So that was a fairly public statement that I'm with you and we're going to do this because it's the right thing to do.
And the judiciary speech.
The judiciary speech. So every year, there's not just the State of the State address, there's also the State of the Judiciary address before the legislature. And typically, the Chief Justice of the Washington State Supreme Court will come before the legislature and will make a case for more money for the judiciary. Well, this year is a little different because last year, we had the Washington State Supreme Court try to hold us in contempt because they said we were not funding McCleary and not funding basic education properly, and really telling us how to write our budgets as legislators. Well, that's a problem. And if you then come in front of the legislature to ask for more money from the people you're telling on how to write the budget, that seems to be a very clear conflict of interest. And so after we wrote a letter to the Supreme Court expressing our displeasure of this violation of the separation of powers, there was a very robust discussion between members of the Democrat House leadership and members of the Republican House leadership, and they decided to cancel the state of the judiciary in a message that this indeed was a conflict of interest, and that was started with members of the Freedom Agenda. So we take that as a win. It involved everybody. It was a bipartisan win, and I think it sent a very clear message that there is a separation of powers, and we do actually write the budget. And thank you for your advice. We'll take it under advisement.
How can people get more information about these and other issues in the legislature?
Well, they can go on my website, which is representativemattshea.com. They can also email me. There's links on the website as well. They can sign up for the e-newsletter, and they can also call the number that'll be put up on the screen right now.